you're not just buying this house, you're buying this. It's a challenge to market something that people can't see, touch, or feel, right? I never just focus on the home. I focus on all the things that support and move outward from the home. Like the home is the base camp. It's not just real estate content. So you're the local lifestyle expert of your area.
And that's an amazing tagline. Luxury is a service, not a price tag. Hello, I would love to introduce my dear friend Amelia Turbyfill from Bozeman, Montana. She's joining us today to share all of the things Bozeman and Big Sky, how she's growing her luxury business, tips and tricks on her upcoming first hire, how she's organized, and one of the biggest questions we get mostly about marketing, digital media, and how we're tying all of those pieces into real estate. So Amelia, welcome to the show. If you wouldn't mind, share us a little bit more about you with our listeners.
Awesome. Thanks, Debbie. Yeah, thanks for having me. This is exciting. I love sharing everything about, Montana and my journey and kind of where I'm at. But so I've been in Bozeman. I moved here about 13 years ago. We'll get into it, but I started my career in marketing and digital marketing, got licensed about 8 years ago, and really focus on the Bozeman and Big Sky real estate markets. So, um, kind of moved here a little bit on a whim. Didn't know anybody or, visited once and decided to move and fell in love with it like so many of my clients do. So that's why it's really exciting to be in real estate and kind of, shepherd people through the same process that I went through when I moved here.
That's great. Well, you said you started in digital marketing. Let's start there. How has that shaped your transition into real estate and the level of service that you offer your clients? What are some of those extra touches that you're able to offer just from your experience?
Yeah, that's a great question. Like real estate at its core really is all about marketing, whether it's marketing your own business to stand out, marketing your listings to capture attention and bring the right kind of buyers, or just marketing the lifestyle of what we've got going on here in Montana that resonates with buyers. So that foundation has really helped me transition into real estate. I think some of the key things for me that really stand out is when I was in marketing, I was really into like the customer experience and user interface of kind of the whole like marketing cycle. So I think my head is really just like into that. And so that's really what I focus on in real estate is, positioning homes as experiences, not just properties. That really also plays into just like Montana and what's going on here in Bozeman and Big Sky.
Yeah, and I love that piece of how you really capture the lifestyle more so than the actual home. And that's something
Mhm.
that you and I have discussed in the past around bringing that home to life through lifestyle. And I know one of the things you're really good at is helping your client have that local lifestyle experience. So, share with our listeners some of the things that you do to make it not just about going and viewing homes.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think you really have to be intentional about that. I'm lucky to live in a place that's amazing. And a lot of people looking to move here to Montana, it's very aspirational, right? No one's moving to Montana or Bozeman because their job transferred them here, typically. People move here because they want to be here. And kind of from the buyer side, usually when I'm working with someone, it's in some of those initial conversations, really understanding what their drive and passion is for this area because it's always something, right? Whether, maybe their son or daughter went to Montana State University and they came to visit and they fell in love. I've seen that happen multiple times, or just like the ski culture or fly fishing or hunting or just having space and kind of having that dream of living on like a ranchette. So I really try to dial into that and then curate that experience around it from the buyer side. And then on the flip side, it's kind of the same with, marketing the lifestyle of a listing, right? I never just focus on the home. I focus on all the things that support and move outward from the home. Like the home is the base camp, but they're coming here for an experience for a really intentional reason. And I try to make sure I'm listening to understand what that is.
And I think this is so true for many of our resort style areas or destinations where we're seeing substantial growth with different
Yeah.
home buying needs, be it the condo project, and we'll get to that with Bozeman Yards, condo projects, ski resorts, vacation rentals, Airbnbs, all of those pieces that You're right in saying that most people are buying for the lifestyle or what the area brings. If it's a second home or even a primary, then like, hey, I'm going to go work for X job and just go move to Bozeman. Now, I can imagine that happens at Big Sky, but it's going to be more your Big Sky workers than your general home buyer in your area. With the Bozeman Big Sky, what do you see more of? Is it more of a second home market, primary market, a little of both?
Yeah, good question. Bozeman's a little bit of both, but more primary home. So people looking for a total lifestyle change, moving to Bozeman to start their life. And what I love about that is I love the opportunity to be like, I don't know. This is what I like to say is maybe it's a little dorky, but I like to be like the concierge, right? Like I don't want to just find you your home. Like I want to plug you into the whole lifestyle. So like when people come here to visit, it's like, where do you go to eat? What school are we looking at? How am I getting from here to there? Where am I going to ski? Am I going to ski at Bridger or I'm going to ski at Big Sky? Those are our two local, resorts. So really kind of helping people say, okay, well, if you live on the west side of town, you're closer to Big Sky and you can ski there. If you're closer to downtown Bozeman, you're literally only 15 minutes from Bridger Bowl ski area. So I work with a lot of people who want to move here, but they're not totally familiar with the area. They're usually moving in from somewhere else. So again, Bozeman is primary, homeowners and some secondary. And then in Big Sky, it's definitely a lot of second homeowners, investors. So I work really closely with people who are like, hey, I love Big Sky. I love it here. I'm planning on being here 2 or 3 weeks in the winter to ski, 2 or 3 weeks in the summer. But can I rent out my property on Airbnb during the times that I'm not here? What does that investment look like? How much income can I anticipate? We have shoulder seasons in the fall and spring. So making sure they understand what kind of like the rental pacing looks like and plugging them in with, are they just kind of trying to cover costs with some add-on rentals, or is this really an investment where they need this to be penciling out and kind of helping guide them through what their options are based on what their goals are?
Right. It's kind of that insider vibe, and I feel that way every time I go on vacation and we stay for more than like a quick weekend. I always want to know like where are the locals eating? What's the difference in the two ski resorts? Where should I go to shop? What boutique should I hit? And so often I find myself just wandering around town aimlessly or looking on Yelp or the internet trying to find like highest rated boutique or food restaurants or types of restaurant style. So I think I love that if you're listening as a real estate agent, take note, like create your insider vibe for your area and make sure that when your people are coming, you offer that as suggestions. I know that's the big thing. I live at the beach and that's a big thing. You can go to any seafood restaurant. There are a lot of them in town and there are some that you should probably frequent more often. We'll just put it that way versus some of
Yeah,
the others.
no, it's totally the same way here too. Like in Big Sky, you can go like eat at the like resort, cafeteria, or you can just walk right over here to like Scissor Bills, which is our like local après place where you can ski right in and have a burger and a beer. It's more of like the local vibe, but like you wouldn't know it. So I like to be the person to, like plug that in because people move here because they want to be here, right? And they want to be dialed into what's really going on.
All right, we're giving the plug to Scissor Bills if you're in the area. The same for Wilmington here. They have beers and brews at Annie Bonnie's. No, it's Molly Pitchers now. Molly Pitchers, no one ever knows about it, but that's like the best
The
stuff in
spot
town.
to
Sure.
go.
Yes.
That's why you gotta work with a good real estate agent who knows what's going on.
That's exactly right. Nobody wants warm beer and cold hamburgers. Um,
No.
So tell us a little bit about Bozeman Yards. I know you've worked in launching this amazing condo project that's going to be coming out of the ground here in November, partnered with the brokerage, but Real Luxury
Mhm.
to help promote this development. So give us a little insight into Bozeman Yards and what should we be telling our buyers that are considering the Montana area about your project?
Yeah, great question. I'm so, like, honored and excited to be a part of this project. It's really exciting for Bozeman. So Bozeman Yards is a luxury condo project that's happening. We call it our north side, the north side of downtown Bozeman. So we're just off of kind of like the main historic downtown area of Bozeman. We're really in like this very cool, artsy, eclectic part of town, which I love. And we're really intentional about continuing to contribute to that vibe that we have going on here in the north side. What really sets Bozeman Yards apart is just the high design, luxury, finishes, style that we have going on. And we also have this amazing wellness and lifestyle aspect to the project that nowhere else in Bozeman has. So there's this incredible owner spa on the second level with this beautiful spa lounge, a deck with a plunge pool, cold plunge. We have an incredible sauna with like this amazing window that perfectly frames the Bridger Mountains, which are the iconic mountains here in Bozeman. So that really sets it apart. There's nothing like it in Bozeman. It's really intentional about, like I said, the wellness aspect and the lifestyle that people want to live here. You can walk out the door and you can be to downtown Bozeman with like amazing restaurants, or you can hop right on the trail system. We have this incredible park literally right out, where the front door of Bozeman Yards is gonna be, called Story Mill Park, with acres and acres of, walking trails, and you can walk, literally hop on the trail and bike all the way to, we call it the M in Bozeman. We have a giant M on the side of the Bridger Mountains for Montana State University, and you can get there all on trails directly from Bozeman Yards. It's an incredible project to be a part of, and I'm really excited to get, like, creative in how we market it.
I was going to take us there. So, with your digital marketing background and marketing experience in real estate, how are you utilizing that to capture the ideal client for this type of project? 'Cause from what I understand about Bozeman, and I'm going to share a little bit about myself. So, I have family members who own in Bozeman, and it's nothing what you described. There's no quaint little fancy spot that they visit. So, tell me about
Right.
how you're utilizing that to bring in those buyers to a new type of project in the area.
Yeah, it's a great point because it's a challenge to market something that people can't see, touch, or feel, right? And it's a new concept for this area. So we're really leaning into messaging around the community and lifestyle aspect. So using a lot of different types of content creation to highlight the north side of Bozeman and really create that buyer experience of like, what does it look like to wake up here? I'm walking to Treeline Coffee and then I'm going to Bridger Pilates. From there, I can, hang out at the owner spa and go into the sauna. And then there's a lounge where you can sit and work. So, really working to story tell and also highlight the finishes and intention behind the project itself to show the quality and how, like I said, intentional that has been to make a really high end luxury condo development that's still rooted in community and really just being the base camp to everything that Bozeman has to offer.
Yeah, and I love how you continue to frame that as the home is just your base camp to everything else that you enjoy in terms of your
Absolutely.
lifestyle, outings, hobbies, that sort of thing. And what's interesting about a place like Bozeman, you do really get 2 seasons. I mean, when you live at the beach, you get the beach, you get the beach. That's what you get versus you have the summer season and then the winter season, 2 totally different seasons, 2 totally different buyers that you could market to that could then utilize the facility year round. Another growing concept that I'm continually hearing in the luxury space. I know both you and I are part of Realm Global, one of the leading luxury communities. And so, one thing I'm consistently hearing with the projects that are being rolled out is that wellness is such a huge part of each project, in that the ideal avatar, we'll call it, is looking for that piece within the concept that's being built or developed. And so, love all of the pieces that you all are layering in to provide that wellness and all in one spot, you know?
Yeah, it's been great partnering with Realm in that because being tied into that luxury network with other agents and kind of working and collaborating, like you said, especially through the wellness real estate sector that's just growing exponentially, really leaning into that has been a great way to gain attention for the project and draw. We have second home buyers. It's a great primary residence, but also just that kind of like lock and leave ease of living. You're not having to like shovel your deck off every day and you have underground parking, and the convenience factor of it is really there too as well with Bozeman Yards. So that's drawing a lot of early buyer interest.
So tell us a little bit about the growth of your business. So you said 8 years and now you've been on your own for almost 2 years, growing
Yeah,
your business through Bozeman Yards, additional primary residence sales, marketing of luxury. What has enabled you to grow so quickly and get a stronghold on the market and your growing business?
great question. I really think, I would say about 2 years ago when I really started focusing on my single agent business. We'll probably get into I'm expanding beyond that recently, but I really just doubled down on myself and my personal brand. I read a quote, I think yesterday, that said, without marketing, nobody knows you, and without branding, nobody trusts you. So I've really kind of leaned into kind of doubling down on myself. And I am the local kind of expert. I have been in this market for years and just putting that out there. So I really leaned into Instagram to get really hyper local with my content. So even if people aren't ready to buy or sell right now, I'm still providing value and reason for people to like follow. And it gives you a lot of credibility in the marketplace. And it's one of those things where it's like I did a little bit here and there, but then I didn't know what to post about and I kind of walked away from it and I wasn't consistent with it. But I really made it an intentional piece of my business to focus on. And it takes a little time, but and once you just start really staying consistent with it and you start to think about more and more things to post about, and the growth has really been a really encouraging. And even just 2 days ago, I got a message that was like, "Oh my God, I found you on one of your Instagram reels. You really seem to also be into the things I'm into. I would love to talk to you about me making a move from like the East Coast out to Bozeman." So that was exciting. I was like, "Yay, it's working. People are seeing it and they're resonating with it in the way I want," which is like putting myself out there authentically, showing the area that I love and attracting the people who are looking for the same thing, I think has really helped with that growth.
Yeah. Well, and two, that quote sticks with me in the sense of,
Mhm.
without marketing, they don't know you. Without branding, they don't trust you. And so it's really a twofold building credibility to then get those clients. And everything now is so keyword searchable, right? So if we're pouring into Chat GPT about all the things that we do, eventually chat will become the new Google. I would imagine that people will go to search. So making sure they can find our brand through chat. But again, it is that Instagram of using the right content, and you're not just talking about you and beautiful homes or beautiful condos, you're talking about you and all that Bozeman brings, which to your buyer is hugely informative. They don't know what they don't know. They only know what they know, right? And so it's you shedding that light on it.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people have a perception of Montana or they like watch Yellowstone, we get that a lot,
That's
and
what I'm envisioning,
I
okay.
know. And I'm like, "Okay, it's fine, like, let that open the door," but then I'm like, "Let me show you what it's really about," right? Like, whether it's going to see live music or go to Main Street for dinner or like, "Oh my god, it just snowed 18 inches on my car overnight," like, that's really what it's like to live here, and I think that authenticity, like, the day-to-day lifestyle, it doesn't all have to be, like, perfectly polished, and I try to keep in mind a balance of, like, professionalism and realness. And I think that's what has really started to get the ball rolling for me and growing that in my brand. And you just kind of have to like be approachable and like not take it too seriously. I think if you overthink it, then you just don't need to. That's not what these social platforms are about.
And so often agents, even especially agents listening, are thinking, okay, marketing social, that's a lot of work. I don't know how to do it. I don't know what to post. And that's where you're tackling that really with what is there to do? Where can we go? What do we
Yeah.
offer? Even if you're in a small town that is more primary residence, there are still sides of town where this side offers shopping boutiques, this side offers restaurants and schools and all the things. And so, I think that leaning into the features of the community with as much migration as we see across the United States day to day, you can't go wrong with just find something about your area to post.
No, you make a great point because it's a mix of like the real estate content. Like you want to put that out there. You want to like show off your listings. You want to, frame that within the lifestyle too. Like I said, you don't just want to throw up like 10 listing photos and say just listed. Like that's boring, right?
Right.
Um, so I try to make sure that with my listings, I'm showing the lifestyle. One of my favorite listing kind of reels that I do is this one I've done for multiple properties where it's like, if you live at, 319 Skywood, that's one of my listings in Big Sky right now. This is what your day could look like. Or you're not just buying this house, you're buying this. And I cut to like a shot of the PBR rodeo, a shot of skiing, a shot of fishing, a shot of eating dinner in town center. Because what you're truly buying is not just the house, you're buying all the things that go with it. And so I love to show that. I think it's a really kind of cool way to play off of your listings, but then also making sure that it's not just real estate content. So you're the local lifestyle expert of your area, right? So maybe it's highlighting a new restaurant that came in. Like it's a great excuse to like get your girlfriends together and go out to dinner, like, hey, this is for work, and highlighting the new restaurant in town. Or I just did a post this morning that was like the top 3 neighborhoods in Bozeman that people are talking about because I just had a call the other day with a client who asked me about these 3 neighborhoods. So pull from your conversations and really what's going on in your day-to-day life, whether it's personal or real estate, and make it a fun way to post about it. And honestly, put it in ChatGPT. Be like, this just happened to me today. What's a good idea for a social post that would go with this? And that's a bit, that's kind of like a productivity hack, I guess you could
Yeah.
say.
My favorite is I have it on my phone now, ChatGPT on my phone, and so I'll take a picture, and earlier today, I was recording something different, and I snapped a picture, and then I put it in, I said, "Hey, chat, what could I say with this photo talking about these 3 things?" And it gave me this great caption with this photo,
I
and
love
then,
that.
away we go. So you can use it for so many things to become the expert, and it's quick. I don't have to think about what I wanna say. It just spits, "How about this?" Or, "Here's a shorter one."
Exactly, like, make it shorter. I do that all the time. I do, like, the talk where you can just, like, talk to it and be like, "Okay, so," like and I just talk to it, like, conversationally. You don't even have to type it in. You just speak to it. It generates the text from it and then comes up with what you want. So it's a great productivity tool. You just have to learn to use it in your processes.
And processes are key. I've used it too. I just another little hack just because 'cause we're talking about it, because I do wanna transition to processes because you have a really great one I want you to share with our listeners. Another process too is recording. So, like you said, you are on a phone call with someone, looking to move to the area, and just have your phone on speaker and turn on Zoom and just hit record all day long and just say, "From this section, what would you what type of post would you create?" And like you said, then you thought of the top 3 neighborhoods because they asked for 3 neighborhoods that people are talking about. But the same thing is just utilizing that content, or because it's things we don't even hear ourselves say or do because we're so used to doing them,
Right.
so it's like a little eavesdropper that can then give you the next steps in growing your business. Well, like I gave a little teaser on processes, and Amelia, you are one of the more organized people that I've met as you're planning to hire your upcoming administrative assistant. And you've been doing a
Yes.
little project for about 3 months now that I would love for you to share, because when you told me about this, I thought every single person out there needs to stop, write this down, re listen to it, whatever you need to do. Tell us what you're doing to prepare for your hire.
Yeah, I'll give you, like, the whole playbook of what I've done. I've been a single agent for a while now, and especially with bringing on this major project of Bozeman Yards, I was like, I can't do this alone. I'm a very high touch real estate agent. That's really important to me with my clients. So delegating and taking all the organized processes that are in my brain and like communicating and offloading that was it's something I truly resisted. I truly resisted it for a long time just because self-admittedly am like a control freak and I care a lot about my business. But I'm like, listen, you can't do it all the time. You have to scale and delegate. So another thing that really kept me from making the leap into hiring someone was just the overwhelm of thinking I'm already so busy. How am I going to take the time to train someone? I don't have the time to do that, so I'm just gonna keep doing it all myself, even though I'm busy. I'm gonna be even busier when I have to do all this stuff and bring someone up to speed. So I was like, there must be a better way to do this. So what I started doing, and I've been preparing this honestly, like you said, over the past 3 months, as I do my tasks. So as I'm doing an MLS email or adding a new lead into my CRM or working on a database email, I just screen recorded myself doing everything and started to build a library. I now have a very, very long library of all these little tasks where it's screen recorded and then I describe what I'm doing. I know a lot of people use Loom, which is a great tool. I actually just go to Google Meets and you can start an instant meeting and I just have a meeting with myself on Google Meets and record it as share my screen, record it, and then as soon as I'm done, I'm like a total Google. organized person, it sends me the recording and then it also gives me a summary, an AI summary of what I talked about. So then I use that to build my library. And now I have this multi-page document where my admin assistant can go in and say, okay, how do I add someone to the CRM? Or how do I, how does Amelia like her listing photos organized, right? Because everyone has like their flow, three exteriors into the main living room, kitchen, master, all that. I've recorded it, all of it, every little thing. And she can go in there now and look at the library and reference all those things. So yeah, that was kind of how I did it. And it allowed me the opportunity to get organized and really start thinking through what are the things that I do want to offload, that I can offload so that I can keep client focused, right? My goal was to be able to remain very high touch with my clients, but offload more of the admin tasks, creating flyers and setting up block boxes and different things like that to someone else. So to be clear, I just started with her this week. It's been great. We're doing a couple like deep dive in person. So I'm not just like, here's the library, see you later, go figure it out. We're definitely still doing some in person training. And I have record our in person trainings too. So when
Good.
we're together, I record that so that she can rewatch it and just add it to the library and she can go in and reference those things as they kind of come up.
So, control freak having meetings with yourself and recording them for future reference. I think that's like the
Yes.
dementia playbook for all of us realtors who have way too much.
Yep.
Like, oh, how was it that I was doing? That is such a great tip because so often we pause hiring because we think, how on earth am I going to train this person? And typically we know we need to hire 3 to 6 months ahead of time because it takes that first initial admission of I will give up some of the tasks, the delegation. I am willing to allow someone else to do something in my business and it's not going to be me. And then we go to the interview processes. And by the time we get somebody in the door that works, you would have the library built and all you would have to do is turn it on each day, every time you sit down to
Yeah.
do something.
Absolutely, and I think, another thing that was worrisome to me in bringing on, like, an employee was, like, what if it doesn't work out? What if, like, I've poured all this time into training someone and for whatever reason, it doesn't work out? That was also a fear of mine of, like, a wasted investment, of time, and something, so that also helped me pad for that, where it's like, well, I have all these trainings again, and I'm not having to spend hours and hours and hours walking through things again. If I have to make a pivot, I still have that training resource that someone else could reference.
Yeah, and now you have your now you have your in-person trainings for, like, your first 30 days that you just say, "Hey, just ignore the person in the pictures. This is how you do it." So you know, you just come in,
I don't
pre-train 'em.
anticipate having to do that. I was intentional about who I brought on board, and I feel very excited about it. But, those things that you have to put, like, the guardrails up to make sure
Mhm.
that you feel comfortable making that leap. The biggest things for me were investment of time in training and just we do so many things as real estate agents. It's kind of crazy. We're working on the business, we're working in the business, we have listings, we have buyers, we have marketing our own selves. It was a really interesting process to go through and break. I'm like, wow, we do a lot of
Yeah.
stuff.
Well, and you have systems around a lot of things or
Yes.
the ability to automate a lot of the things that we do. We just don't slow down to do it. And I appreciate your I made a good hire, and I think that's perfect because what will happen over time, I'm certain with your drive and your desire to grow is that at some point that person will still be in your world and will be doing either a specific portion of the job that she's hired to do right now or will transition into a different position within your team
Exactly.
to continue to grow your business. And so all of that information also serves as leverage to her because now she doesn't have to go create the videos on how to do all these things. She brings someone in and trains them. She's able to replace herself in, half the amount of time by saying, "Hey, here's how we do these things. And if you need a reference, check out this video or here's our video library," because that's also a bottleneck that we run into is we have a great employee and we want to advance him in the company and we're sitting there looking at it going, "Oh my gosh, she can't physically do both jobs or train on one just like we can't train on one and then it grow into the next position and be successful as fast as we want them to because it's always quick. But I mean, what a great leverage tool as you continue to grow your team. And I would say this would be true for buyer's agents as well as administrative staff to learn, how you utilize the database, where you put your follow up,
Yep.
what campaigns you put them on, scripting. Right? How many
I
times do we say the same script or send the same text asking for reviews or testimonials? It's just right there.
Absolutely, and I try to set up my systems to be, like, a really good balance between, like, automation and customized. Like I said, I'm a really I pride myself on being very high touch and very involved with all my clients, but I have created, like, checklists, again, in Google. I was listening to one of your other podcasts from a couple weeks ago, well, maybe it was longer than that, but I picked it because she talked about, like, her system of, like, from start to finish, what are the things that you do that make what you do really important. So I did translate that into like a Google table, which is again, it all ties together, right? It's the task, and then I have a link to that training video, and then you can actually like assign it. Like one thing that sometimes you might need help with is like drafting an inspection notice, right? So it's like that's a task that you might have to do. Here's a video recording of it, and then you can actually assign it to different people in like your Google admin account. So different checklists for each transaction, following through step by step. 10 days to closing. Have you given that buyer the utility providers for that property? Make sure that's set up. Or on the flip side, the seller, you want to remind them, hey, don't forget to shut off your Wi-Fi. So all of those little touches, and then like you said at the end, asking for that review. Sometimes you might have to ask twice, but those things are gold, right? And that's worth
Yes.
doing, but it's something that's so easy to fall off your radar if you don't have a process set up for it. So taking that process that's in your mind as a single agent, that's so important, and formulating it into a plan and then able to transfer that to, an admin assistant is it's been a great process. I'm excited to have done it and figure out a way that works for me.
Yes, and you're referencing Summer's podcast, and there was so much
Yes,
great
summer.
information. So I scribbled so many notes while recording that podcast that we went away and implemented so many of the things that she mentioned on that just to strengthen our systems and make it more systematic, but still with a personal touch. And I like that you bring that piece up. We're not working to replace what we do on the relationship side of the business. We're looking to enhance where we can with the systems and actually create a better experience, and it's just that
Yeah.
just those constant growth of the systems.
I think that was another fear that I had was I never want a client to feel passed off to an assistant. I never want them to feel like they're not able to communicate with me, right? Like it's my business, it's my brand. I'm putting that out there and that's, you know, how we work together. So creating a system where my admin person is supporting me to be more client facing with them and giving them what they need.
And I agree, and I think sometimes we get caught up in the vernacular when we start thinking about passing them to an assistant or passing them to a buyer's agent.
Right.
And so I was listening to a podcast actually this past weekend, and the gentleman that was being interviewed said that he removed the word assistant from any of his staff positions, and they're all professional staff. That's how they're referred to. So my professional
I love
staff,
that.
Mindy, is going to be giving you a call. A member from my professional staff team is going to be giving you a call, and it can be anyone. And then it doesn't feel like, oh, my assistant's going to give you a call, and then like, oh, but I get the assistant, and not you. And so
Right,
that was a
right.
huge takeaway from me to think like, how do we level up even just some of the choice words that we're using to
Just
help our
reframing
clients?
it.
Yes,
Yeah, reframing it is so simple.
yeah, they're so excited about working with a professional staff. Who wouldn't be, right?
Yeah, yeah, right? And just making people feel I think there's a way that you can spin it too, where it's like, "Oh, she has a team." I like the word team. She has a team
Mhm.
of people working to support, our collective goal, whether it's from the listing side or the buyer's side. I love the idea of, "Hey, this team supports you, and that's an advantage to you as a buyer or a seller because there's more people working on your behalf to help you reach your goal."
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so looking ahead, because you're a planner, looking ahead 3 years. We'll just go 3 years out.
Just
Bozeman.
3.
Yeah, just 3. Bozeman,
Mm.
Big Sky, real luxury. What do you see for yourself, and what do you see for the growth of your area?
Yeah, great question. 3 years out, 3 to 5 years out, I really see myself doubling down in Bozeman and Big Sky, continuing to really focus on the luxury space is a wonderful place to be. And then, you know, now that I've opened the door into this world of new development here in Bozeman, I'd love to continue to expand on that. It's really a totally different animal being in this new development world, but it's a really fun challenge for my, again, my marketing brain to get creative. How do you sell a new development project? So I really see myself focusing on that. And then I'm also more recently licensed also in Utah and focusing on the Park City market as a place to supplement what I've been doing is, kind of specifically in Big Sky, working with those clients. I'm a really passionate skier. So anytime I can like have an excuse to like show real estate and ski is kind of like the best case scenario for me. So I find that's a very complementary market that has some incredible growth and exciting things happening there. We might have to revisit. I've got some exciting things happening there, hopefully unfolding over the coming months with some potential partnerships and things like that. So that's really exciting for me to add that complementary market.
That is super exciting, so we'll have to have you back to learn more about what you have in the works. So let me ask you this, you love to ski, insider vibe, if someone's listening and they wanna come out and check out Bozeman Yards, do they get to ski with you?
Oh my gosh, are you kidding? Yes, please call me, DM me, let's ski. Like, allow me to show you some beautiful real estate and kind of some of the best ski runs. I love that. In Big Sky, it's amazing. We can do the kind of bougie day where we go and ski into the Montage or the one and only on the gondola and have a fancy day, or let's go to Scissor Bills and have a beer and a burger.
I love it. Well, count me in. I already told you this before we recorded. I said, my family's out there. We're getting on a plane flight without them, and we're gonna come have some fun out in Bozeman. Last question: if a client remembers you for only one thing after working with them, what would it be?
Oh, great question. Again, I would say what I would want a client to remember me by is that I really listened to what they were looking for and authentically delivered back to them what they were looking for. So a lot of people come here and you might think like luxury is a $10 million home. And someone could say that, but I like to be sure I'm listening to what luxury as a service, not as a price point, is kind of how I think about it. So for some people, luxury is a $10 million ski and ski out property at the one and only, or it could be a two-bedroom fishing cabin, on the Yellowstone River on acreage away from everybody, and it's just a very basic home. So I'd like people to be sure that my clients remember me by listening and authentically connecting to deliver them. That's the Montana way, right? Like we're authentic. I want to deliver that experience because people want realness. And I want to give that back to my clients and making sure I deliver on what their expectations are, what they're really looking for, and dial them into that.
And that's an amazing tagline. Luxury is a service, not a price tag. Because you're right.
Yeah.
Most of the times we go to new areas, we have no idea what we want. And just by sharing what our interests are, you may take us to the complete other side of town that we didn't even know about as part of the service, not looking at it as you want a $10 million home, let's start here. So
Yeah, I want people to feel like I listened, I understood, and I delivered on what their desires were and their vision for a lifestyle here in Montana because there's a full spectrum of what that could be. And my job is to listen and deliver on that.
well, Amelia, this has been an amazing show full of learning about Bozeman, Bozeman Yards, all things lifestyle, luxury, and even a few hacks along the way to make us better leaders and to grow us in our real estate space. So I really appreciate your time. I look forward to catching up with you again soon and hearing more about the different opportunities that some of our listeners could take advantage of. We will absolutely put your links in the show notes for Bozeman Yards as well as how they can reach out to you if they're in the area and do a quick tour of your area. And we look forward to having you back. If you love the show, be sure to click like and subscribe. Have a great day.